Okay, the next thing I want to work on is placing a lives counter over here. We'll say like lives colon 3, and then we'll say like game over or you win, depending on whether or not the lives have exhausted. We'll see the lives decrease by one over here, and then that would be game over if all 3 lives are exhausted. If the user is able to get all 20 bricks, then we'll say you win. So something like that. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is go over here to create UI, and I want a text object. And so you see over here that's going to bring up a canvas. And here's the text. Now this text I want to be in the lower left hand corner. So as you can see, I've selected the game tab. What I'll do is I'll just select this guy to control the anchor and the pivot, and I want this thing to be in the lower left hand corner. So I'm going to hold down Shift and Alt on my keyboard and click this guy over here. There it is in the lower left hand corner. I don't like the size of the font, so let's see if I can increase the font size here. That looks pretty good. And let's see, let me change the text to lives colon 3. Yeah, looks good. I don't want that to be so close to the left hand corner, so let me go over here to the position X and increase that. Something like that looks good. Maybe I can bring it up a little bit, so that's the position Y right here, so I'll move it up a little bit. That looks pretty good. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to lives. Okay, I like that. I want to include another item from create UI text, and this guy I want to be in the center here, just underneath where the bricks are. So once again, I'll go over here to the pivot and also the position set, and let's see what happens when I select middle. So I'm going to hold on Shift and Alt, click this guy over here, and let's see here. What I'll do is I'll make it so that the alignment is centered. That looks pretty good. Let me increase the font size. If I increase the font size too big, it disappears. It's because the bounding is not big enough here. So let me just go ahead and, I don't know, let's try a width of 250 and a height of 60. Just so that I can increase the font size to something like that. Okay, it looks good. And we'll say this is game over. That's the text that I want displayed. Alright, so that means that I want to change this, and so over here, this will be my game over text. Enter. And I don't want the game over text to be visible while I'm playing the game, so I'm going to deactivate it. And I'll only reactivate it when the user when the user loses 3 lives, then we'll say game over. Another text that I want to display is you win, and that's when the user is able to make contact with all of the blocks. So let's make this deactivated, and I'm going to create another UI text. Actually, why did I do that? I could have just simply duplicated. So I don't want to do this. Let me right click, delete, take this guy and duplicate. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And instead of this, let me come over here and change that to you win text. And let me activate it temporarily so that I can see what it looks like when I say you win. Exclamation mark. Good. Yeah, so either this is going to appear or this is going to appear. Right? So let me activate both of them at the same time. I don't want this, obviously, so only one of these are going to be activated based on the situation, but initially they're both deactivated, so I'll click this checkbox. Nothing is being displayed right now for this text or this text item. It's only going to be the lives with 3 that that's initially going to be displayed. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and save my work. Save project. Okay. So when we play the game, as you can see, let me click. So the ball bounces around, but it's not making any of the bricks disappear. So that's a problem. And also, if this happens, as you can see here, as the ball goes through, the lives needs to decrease to 3, to 2, to 1. And then we need to be able to like put the ball back in the center and start this whole process all over again. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's change the script for the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on the script for the ball. And we need to make some adjustments, specifically as follows. So over here where we have update, here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and place your cursor right after that if statement, and you're going to type else if is ball in play, and if the ball is in fact in play, which it is, because when we click on the mouse and the ball is not going to be in play when we initially start the game, notice that we put is ball into play equals true. So when we're playing the game, it is into play. And let's see here. So we'll say and the transform dot position dot y is less than or equal to -2, close parens, open and close curly braces. I don't like it when Unity does this. It's just a personal preference. I just like to see the else if statement over here. It doesn't matter if it's up here. Personal preference. All right, what did I mean by this? Transform position y. So in other words, where the ball is located, the ball's transform position is less than or equal to -2. What I mean by that is this. When I play the game, and when the ball goes through and down here, then I want something to happen. Namely, I want to add another ball here at the center, and so that the user can play the game again. And later on, we'll worry about decreasing the lives from 3 to 2, 2 to 1, so forth and so on. So if this ball goes through, it's going into negative territory. That's what's meant by here. So if we're playing the game and the ball falls through the water, then here's what I want you to do. Well, first of all, let me create a vector3 object. I'm going to call it ball position. So this is a point in space. And we'll say vector3, new vector3, comma 1f, comma 0. Okay, so what am I saying here? The ball that I want to create, as you just lost a life because the ball went through. This is going to go from 3 to 2. Where should we put the ball? I want to put the ball right here. And so that position, I'm saying, is 0 for the x-axis, 1 for the y-axis, 0 for the z-axis. Well, now let's go ahead and apply this to the transform, or to the ball. And so the way that we're going to do that is we'll say transform dot set position and rotation. All right, well, first of all, where do you want to set this? It looks like it's going to require a vector3. Well, I've got that over here. I've created a ball position. It just wants a point in space, so we'll say ball position. That's what I just created. All right, comma, and then it says over here, give me a quaternion rotation. Well, this is just what is the rotation of your object. What do you want in terms of the rotation? And I don't want this thing to be rotated. So if you don't want it to be rotated, these are rotation parameters. So just simply say quaternion dot identity. And all that means is I'm not interested in any rotation. So just type this in. Later on in the course, we'll talk a little bit more detail about this, but just know that this has to do with the rotation, this has to do with the position, and we don't want any rotation. Okay, now we're going to say is ball in play, and we're going to set that to false. No, if the ball falls through, we're not in play. So we'll just leave it like this. Now over here I said RB is kinematic false. Well, we better change that to rb.isKinematic is true. And when we play the game again, when we click the mouse and is ball in play is false, then we're just simply going to change the RB is kinematic to false again. And so in other words, this is going to respond to physics forces. All right, so rb.addForce. We'll say this is going to be a new vector, specifically a vector3. and we'll say 0, 0, 0. So in other words, we have no force that's being added, or we're making it so that no force is being applied to our rigid body. And that way, when we go back to this if statement, then we will apply a force to the ball, and namely, the ball is going to move to the upper right-hand corner, right? Because we have ball initial velocity right here, this guy over here. So this is going to be 600. This is going to be 600. This is x and y, so that means the ball goes in this direction, right? But right now, we're not applying any force, so we're just taking all that off. Okay, so let's see what happens. Let me save my work. Go back over here. See if we can go into gameplay. All right, so let me click, and I'm going to deliberately let this thing fall through. All right, so you see how the ball restarts right here? Let me click again, and the ball's going to fall right through. See how the ball restarts right there? So let me try it one more time here. Click, but this time I really am going to try to play the game. Now, as you see, the problem is that the lives didn't decrease. The lives is still a 3 down here, right? So we need to change that, but at least we are working, things are working out where we are restarting a ball when it falls through. Okay, so let me save my work. I think I already did. Yeah, I already did, so I don't have to resave. Okay, so that takes care of the additional ball script. Let's see here. When I click, when the ball strikes a brick, I want something to happen. Namely, I want the brick to disappear. And obviously the ball is supposed to bounce off of the brick. So let me go ahead and click Assets. So that way when I create a new script, it's going to appear here. And then I'll just drag and drop it into script. So actually, no, let me do this. Let's change this up a little bit. If I select bricks, and really what I should do is I should create a prefabrication for the bricks. So let me do this. Let me create a new folder. And for the folder, we're going to call that, prefabs, enter. All right. And then I'll just take one of these bricks, and I'll take the first one here, transfer that, or drag and drop that into prefab. And so the idea is that, this is going to be like a template that I'm going to use and anything that affects this brick is going to affect the additional bricks. Okay. All right. Well, first of all, what I want to do is I want to generate some code for the bricks. So I'll just take this brick over here and go over here to add component. And specifically, I want to create a new script. And the new script, let's see here, what do I call it? Bricks script. It's C# already. Create and add. Okay, and where did that go? Looks like bricks script went over here. Let me drag and drop that into scripts. Go into scripts. There it is. Good. Let me double click on this. Okay, so when the script is called, there's a couple things that we want to do. We want to display you win if all of the bricks are gone. And we want to keep track of how many bricks have been collided, and so then therefore we want to, if a brick collides, if the ball collides with this brick, then we want to say set active false. So there's a lot of things that we want to do in terms of this brick here. So let's do this. Let me go over here back to the script. I want to affect the text that's over here in terms of displaying you win. So over here, I need to add the following namespace. So we'll say using Unity Engine, there it is, .ui. So this allows me to have an effect on these text items. Specifically, the one that I'm interested in is this guy over here, you win text. Okay, let's go ahead and create some private members here. Specifically, just one private member. Whoops, sorry. Where did my script go? I must have accidentally closed it. Sorry about that. Oh, something happened. Okay, so let me just click OK. Go back over here to double-click Brick Script. Not sure what happened. An autosave file has been found. Use original file. This is load from autosave. Okay, that's weird. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad it happened so that if it does happen to you, you see what I did to recover from this.